Tekking101 tumble. Careful. Okay. You gotta be very careful when you're tumbling with your kanabo. This has been a public service announcement to my fans about Japanese war clubs, which I'm sure we all own. Alright, so we got a new character in One Piece in Yamato, so let's do the first thing that comes to everybody's mind. Is Yamato gonna join the Straw Hats? Apparently, according to this poll I did last night on the channel, it's a big yes! Yeah, that's the one thing, because you just never know. Whenever a character gets introduced in an arc, obviously Yamato is gonna play a big role here. He knows about Ace and everything, and talking to Luffy right now, and, you know, carrying on the legacy of Kozuki Oden and all that stuff. So, you know, yeah, we're gonna be relevant, but hey, you just never know. I'm sure when Frankie was first introduced, and Brook, I mean, a lot of people probably figured they were gonna join, because, man, the Straw Hats need a shipwright. Here's a shipwright. Straw Hats need a musician. Here's a talking skeleton musician, right? But what about Robin? Did anyone think back when Robin was first introduced, oh yeah, she's definitely going to join the crew after all this is over? Or what about Jinbei? You know, you never know. So, I don't personally think Yamato's gonna join, but that would be cool, right? You know, to have a child of a Yonko just traveling around with the Straw Hats. They already have one of the warlords. I mean, come on, that's pretty neat, right? Okay, so, talking about Yamato, the son of Kaido, or the daughter of Kaido, as was stated in that, information box that was given last chapter. I think aside from that information box that says daughter of Kaido, you know, self-stylized Kozuki Oden, you know, Yamato, aside from that info box, every other time that someone refers to Yamato, including Yamato himself, always uses the male pronouns, or like the Japanese equivalent. Like when Yamato first showed up with the mask and, like, you know, smacked down ulti, Thunder Baga! Knocked her down, grabbed Luffy and ran off, he introduced himself as I am son of Kaido, using Boku, the way that, you know, young men refer to themselves in Japanese. I was a little bit curious on how Yamato referred to himself after he took the mask off and revealed that he's biologically female, because I don't have, like, the raw versions of the chapter. Luckily, Artur's got my back, and Artur did a whole little page about this where he explained that even after taking off the mask, Yamato still refers to himself in, like, the polite way that a young man would refer to himself in Japanese, using Boku. There's also Ore, which is another way that men can refer to themselves, but that's a little bit more informal, kind of like a rude way of saying it, and Yamato speaks very politely. I believe the Japanese equivalent for Boku for women is Atashi, and Yamato doesn't use that. And so it seems very clear that Yamato wants to be referred to as a man. Kaido refers to Yamato as his son, as do all the other members of the Beast Pirates, like the Tobiropo and everybody. Or they'll refer to Yamato as, like, the young lord, using a masculine way of referring to that. Basically, it's sort of like young prince, but not really. But I guess that's, like, the closest equivalent I got. Something like that. So, for that reason, I'm just gonna keep calling Yamato a man. I'm gonna be using male pronouns for, let's just get that out of the way right there, okay? Okay, so, Yamato last chapter, though, more important than I think the reveal, was that Yamato knew Ace. And on top of that, Yamato is styling himself to be, you know, Kozuki Oden. So I'm like, alright, there's a lot to unpack there, alright? So first off, I wanted to talk about the age of Yamato, just really briefly. Last chapter, I think I said somewhere between 25 to 30 would fit best, because Yamato was indeed present during the execution of Oden, so probably wasn't, like, a little baby when that happened. You know, I don't know, how far back can you, like, remember stuff when you were a kid? Now, granted, though, this was the execution of Kozuki Oden. This was the legendary hour. I'm sure every baby that was in that crowd remembers that day clear as crystal. Even if, like, oh, my baby was just born 2 days ago. Well, let's go watch the execution of Oden. That baby remembers exactly what went down, right? Even if, like, the mother of a child that wasn't even born for years, the mother watches the execution of Kozuki Oden and then gets pregnant 2 years later, that baby, just by sheer osmosis, will come out of the womb knowing exactly what went down that day for how epic it was, right? It's just ingrained in every cell. But now, I'm going to assume Yamato was probably no younger than, let's say, 4 years old. And the reason I'm saying 4 years old is I think that was around the time that Tama met Ace. And Tama sort of had a really good memory of meeting Ace, and Tama is 8 years old right now. So I don't have a lot of memories when I was 4, but at least in the context of One Piece here, when Tama was that young, she met Ace, and, you know, it was like, oh, I want to see Ace again. That's why I'm training to become a Kunoichi. I'm going to train it up, and I'm going to become a Kunoichi, and then Ace is going to come back, and we're going to hang out, we're going to have a fun time, right? And so let's just go with 4, but I'm going to say probably closer to like 5 or 6. Which 20 years later would put Yamato somewhere between like 25, 26 years old. Maybe the same age as Hiyori. I think that would actually fit really well. You know, Hiyori, because, you know, Hiyori can remember everything that happened back then, you know, pretty vividly and stuff when she was only 6 years old, and now she's 26. So we can go with that age there, okay? So I want to see a little bit more of the flashbacks involving how this all went with Yamato from his perspective, okay? Witnessing the execution of Oden, probably being just blown away by it as a little kid, like, oh my god, this is what I want to be when I grow up, alright? So, and we saw last chapter, Yamato explained this to Luffy, just like, oh yeah, I went up to my dad and I said I wanted to be Kozuki Oden when I grew up, and oh man, he gave me a clobbering, you know? But like I said in the chapter, even despite that, Kaido still refers to Yamato as his son. I think that Kaido still at least respects Yamato to the point where, okay, I'll refer to you as my son if that's what you want, but I'm not gonna stand for you, you know, wanting to be Kozuki Oden of all people, alright? Like, that's like our mortal enemy, so to speak, right? So, yeah, we had the situation there, so I want to see the flashback there of like the whole exchange that Yamato actually had with Kaido. Yamato also dresses like Oden, you know, with the kimono and the shackles, like right down to that, and the Neo Daisuke, I think that thing is called, the rope on his back and all that stuff, and he's got the sandals, the wooden sandals and everything like that. Although Yamato wears the Hanya mask, which Oden never wore a Hanya mask, but I think that is more symbolic than anything. And Yamato wants to be seen as a man because Oden was a man, and he's trying to idolize himself based off of Oden. So there's another theory out there that, you know, Kaido would definitely know, you know, that that Yamato is biologically female, but maybe not every single member of the Beast Pirates know. I mean, maybe the Calamities, because they've been around for a long time, as well as with maybe some of the Tobi Roppo, not even sure, but maybe like the underlings, like the waiters and the pleasures, they don't actually know. So because every time Yamato walks around Onigashima, it's always wearing the Hanya mask, and the Hanya mask has like long flowing hair, different from Yamato's natural hair, as well as the mask also has like a goatee coming off of it. And so if Kaido also is referring to Yamato as his son, and the Calamities are the same way, then even if you don't actually see what Yamato looks like under the mask, if you're a member of the Beast Crew, you're gonna be referring to Yamato as male. Just, you're not even probably gonna second guess it, you know, you're just gonna go with it, right? Okay, so, yeah, I want to see the whole situation there, but yeah, the Hanya mask is, I think, more just symbolic in the sense of, like, representing tragedy, you know, in the case with Yamato, the tragedy of witnessing Oden's death, part tragedy, part also, like, oh, I found my calling in life, this is what I want to do, I know what I want to be when I grow up, Oden, you know, that's my career choice, you know, first career choice, you know, Beast Pirate Commander, no, Kozuki Oden, right? And then another representation is, like, anger or frustration, which I'm also imagining Yamato feels quite a bit for his dad. You know, we don't really know the whole relationship between them yet, you know, because you'd figure if Yamato really just outright despised Kaido, well, okay, I was gonna say if Kaido was, like, outright just, like, despised by Yamato, why doesn't he just leave the island? You know, why is he just, okay, screw this, I'm done, I'm getting one of our ships, and I'm leaving, you know, and with all the fleets that the Beast Pirates have, Yamato could easily do that. Yamato could, like, yeah, Dad, I'm gonna take this fleet, and I'm gonna go to this island and pillage, or whatever, and Kaido was like, that's my son! And then Yamato's on the ship, way away from Wano, and just being like, alright, screw this, I'm taking over the ship, and we're going off to do my own thing. But the reason Yamato doesn't do that is because even though he might not like his dad so much, he still wants to carry out the wishes of Kozuki Oden, and the wish of Oden was to open up the country of Wano, which is why Yamato stayed on Onigashima, waiting for the day that the Scabbards might return, waiting for the day that this prophesied individual might arrive. So here's the thing here. We know that Yamato retrieved Oden's log journal from Curry. We still don't know the reason exactly where he found the journal. Maybe he was just, rooting around the wreckage of Curry Castle, and then maybe Oden, maybe actually Oden was pretty smart. Maybe he knew that he was gonna die, like going before even the execution happened, before he even got thrown in jail. When Oden went to go fight against Kaido and to make his final stand against Kaido, where everybody was there, maybe Oden kind of knew at that point, like, all right, there's a strong possibility that if I lose, I'm gonna be executed. So he took his journal, his log journal, put it in like a lockbox, chained it up, and then buried it underneath Curry Castle. And he's like, all right, this contains everything. This has my adventures with Whitebeard and with Roger, all the connections I've made over the years, all the sights I've seen, my personal desires, my wishes. I poured my heart out on these pages, so I'm gonna secure that before I die. And so he died, and then like a couple years later, Yamato was like, oh, I want to be like Oden, go to Curry Castle, dig around the wreckage, and finds this box, and like finds the logbook in there. It was like secured, okay? So we don't know how far the logbook actually goes into. I want to say that everything that we, the fans, read in that flashback, everything from the Mountain God incident, to him, gathering all the Scabbards together, to him becoming daimyo, to him traveling out to sea with Whitebeard, to meeting Toki, having Momonosuke and Hiyori, returning to Wano, dancing, talking about Joy Boy, everything from that flashback was included in the logbook. Now here's the thing though. We did not find out in that flashback what the One Piece was. It wasn't mentioned. It just said Roger arrived at Laugh Tale and he simply laughed. That was all we as the fans know, so I'm thinking that's all that Oden actually wrote in the logbook. Perhaps Oden was like, the night after they arrived at Laugh Tale, they, oh man, that's the One Piece, that's crazy, Captain. And so Oden later that night, he was writing in his logbook, and he got to the point where he's like, oh, Roger, he looked upon the treasure and he laughed. And that treasure was, and then maybe Oden stopped for a moment and he's like, well, this is a really important thing. He's like, well, there's some weird phantasmal force that's not allowing me to write about the One Piece for some reason. I wonder what that could be. And then Oda is up there like, sorry, Oden, I'm not letting you write about that yet. The fans can't find out what it is yet, so yeah. But no, maybe Oden, out of respect for Roger, he's like, it's probably best if I don't write this down, where anybody could just find it and then read about what this ancient treasure, the One Piece, is, especially if it's like something that could like destroy the world, or something that has the potential to destroy the world. Probably best if I don't actually write that down, okay? So let's just omit like what the One Piece treasure is. But something that Oden did bring up during that flashback is Joy Boy. He brought up Joy Boy. Like, oh yes, Joy Boy will return to this country one day, and we have to make sure that, the country is open for that reason, okay? So that was all included on there. Let's just, I like to assume that, yeah, he might have not have talked about it with his Scabbards too much, but he wrote it down at least in the journal, so I'm assuming that, Yamato now knows about the Joy Boy prophecy and everything like that, okay? So, then we get to Ace, all right? Ace arrives in Wano. It had to have been, I want to say, about 4 years ago. I don't think we got an exact time frame for this. Maybe we did. Maybe Tama did actually say that she was 4 years old. I think she might have. But we know that 2 years ago, Ace died. And so 3 years previous to that, he went out to sea. So 5 years ago from the present storyline, when Tama was 3 years old, Ace set out to sea from Dawn Island. We know that much, okay? Well, it took him a little while to get, to Saboti Archipelago, and then eventually into the New World, and then traveling to the New World. So let's just say that took a year. Because when Ace arrived at Wano, this was when he still had the Spade Pirate ship, and he wasn't a member of Whitebeard's crew yet. So he didn't fight Jinbei, he didn't come across Marco and Whitebeard. That didn't happen yet, alright? So let's just say, so 4 years ago, a year into his journey, he was in in the New World. He landed at Wano, met Tama, learned how to make the Casa hats, and also met Yamato there at that point. If we're putting Yamato right now around age 26, 27, or at the youngest 24, then that would put Yamato and Ace right around the same age. Yamato would be a little bit older, but not much. So let's just roll with that, okay? And so what was their relationship? That's the $1 million question, really. Did Ace know about Yamato's, like, true appearance? Did Yamato take off the mask in front of Ace? I would assume he probably would have. What exactly did Yamato explain to Ace? Apparently they fought before, because when Luffy was clashing with Yamato last chapter, Yamato was like, yeah, that takes me back, remembering either the, like, serious fights that maybe he had with Ace, or maybe just, like, sparring matches he had with Ace. Not really sure how that went there, what their, like, relationship really was. Did Yamato, here's the big thing, did Yamato actually present himself as Yamato to Ace? As in, I am Yamato, I'm the son of Kaido, the ruler of this land. Or did Yamato, announce himself as, hello there, traveler, what's your name? Oh, I'm Porcus D. Ace, I come from the East Blue. My name is Kozuki Oden, and I hail from Wano Kuni. This is my home, and my dream is to one day open it up to the rest of the world. It's very possible that Yamato could have announced himself like that. And then that gets into a whole new theory. I was reading a few of these in the last review as well. The theory goes like, okay, wait a second. Ace went to Wano first, which means he had to have learned about what happened in Wano with Kaido and Orochi and everybody. First question, what were the circumstances that led to Ace leaving Wano? I want to know that story. Because usually whenever the Straw Hats go somewhere, hey, we landed on Alabasta, and they don't leave until the threat is dealt with. They don't leave until, boom, Crocodile was taken care of. How weird would it have been if the Straw Hats landed on Alabasta and is like, well, Crocodile's taken over the place, but nothing we could do about that, and they just leave the island with Crocodile still in charge, and then, like, somebody else has to come later and deal with the threat, right? That's kind of like what happens. So, now, obviously, Ace, Ace is a strong guy, but I don't think Ace would have been strong enough with just his Spade Pirates back then to take on the threat of Kaido and Orochi. Maybe that's the reason why he left. Maybe Ace landed there, met Tama explained the whole situation, and she's like a 4-year-old at this point, like, yeah, there's a mean man named Kaido, and he's a dragon duck, and he rules this place, and I don't have any food to eat. Just imagine 4-year-old Tama explaining this to Ace, and Ace is like, okay, I'll deal with the problem. But then Ace maybe realizes the problem is way, way too big for him personally and his crew to take care of. Maybe Yamato explained that to him. Maybe this is how it went. Ace lands on the island, meets Tama, tells him about Kaido, was like, I'll take care of this Kaido, I'll take care of this Orochi. And then Yamato meets up with Ace and like, whoa there, fire cowboy, hold up, hold your horses. You can't beat my dad. It's just not going to happen. You're strong. Maybe, Yamato and Ace clashed a little bit there, so Yamato could get a feel for Ace's Maramara no Mi and his armament hockey that he had at that point. Like, oh, yeah, you're pretty strong. This is a lot of fun. Oh, yeah, but maybe at the end of the day, Ace was not able to even defeat Yamato. Maybe caused some injuries on him, but never was able to defeat him. And so you get to a point where Yamato's like, if you can't even beat me, you're not going to stand a chance against my dad. It's not even going to happen, because I'm assuming Yamato is wicked strong, because even though Ulti kind of complained, oh, that's not a Raime Hake, that's a Raime Shike, that's like only half as strong as Kaido's technique, But even that I sort of take as a compliment, right? And we saw Yamato come out of nowhere and just boom, take Ulti by surprise and then knock her down and like coughing up blood and stuff, okay? So Yamato is still wicked strong. Even if you want to take that at face value that Yamato is only 50% a Kaido, still wicked strong, right? So maybe Ace and Yamato clash a little bit. Yamato's like, you're not going to beat Kaido, it's not going to happen. And maybe Ace, he realizes it right away. He's like, oh wow, maybe the things in this country are way out of hand, like if we're gonna go RPG terms, like let's say Ace lands on Wano when he's like level 35. Kaido's like level 98, you know, it's just like, yeah, this might be a little bit too much for me to deal with. Maybe, so maybe Ace's plan was, okay, how about, oh no, that doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say maybe Ace was gonna leave, and then maybe when he gets stronger or gets stronger allies, they would return to Wano and then deal with Kaido. But that doesn't make any sense because Ace eventually did meet stronger allies in the way of Whitebeard. So did Ace never explain the situation to Whitebeard? This is the reason we need another flashback here. Not as long as the Oden one, but this is the reason we need another flashback here. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm sure, even if you're gonna say that, you know, Yamato announced himself as Oden, and so Ace just never guessed it, you know, just like went to Whitebeard's crew and was like, oh yeah, Pops, I went to this place Wano at this one moment, and I met this guy named Kozuki Oden, and Whitebeard's like, grr, grr, grr. Yeah, he used to be a member of my crew. Actually, he used to be the 2nd Division commander. Like you, Ace, you want it? I'm like, sure. Like, yeah, that's great. Glug, glug. Oh, wait, okay. All right, this might not be the case, but this would be kind of cool. So when Ace joined up with the Whitebeard crew, he fought for them for a little bit, and then I think it was like Marco or somebody, it might have even have been Blackbeard at the time, because Blackbeard was a member of the 2nd Division, I think said like, hey Ace, you want to be the commander of the 2nd Division? It's been vacant for quite a while. And then Ace was just like, okay. But there might have been another part of that conversation that we didn't know about. Maybe there was another part of that conversation where Ace asked, you know, well, who was the last 2nd Division commander? Kozuki Oden. Oh, I met him on Wano. He's a nice guy. Yeah, he's pretty strong. Yeah, it would be an honor. I'll take up 2nd Division commander. Might have been something like that. It's the timelines need to be synced up a little bit for us to understand everything here. But yeah, but even if you want to say that, even if you want to say that Ace just believed that Yamato was actually Kozuki Oden, because he didn't know the backstory, he didn't know everything that went down 20 years ago or whatever, he would still also know, though, about Kaido and about Orochi, because Tama would have told him. Even if Tama didn't tell him, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Tama and, you know, her whole village is living in poverty pretty much, and the whole country, oh, there's a feudal Japanese society, but you got these giant factories pumping pollution into the air. I think there's something up with this country, right? So wouldn't have Ace said to, like, Whitebeard, like, hey, Pops, I want to go to Wano. I want to help out my friend Tama and, you know, help out the country. It's possible Whitebeard might have said something like, yeah, I understand you want to help them out, but, you know, dealing with Wano is a little difficult because of Kaido. And maybe Whitebeard himself was like, hey, look, I'm a Yonko. He's a Yonko. Whew, that's a tall order there. If it was just some random thugs taking over an island, no problem. We go in there and take care of it by sundown. But this is a really complicated situation. Remember, Whitebeard never even wanted to deal with Wano to begin with. Never even wanted to take Oden because he's like, hey, I'm a pirate. Oden's royalty, basically, like essentially the crown prince of Wano. I can't take him away because then I might have a bunch of Marines, or not Marines, but I'll have like vassals from your country chasing after me. It's just, it's complicated, right? So maybe that's the reason, but I'm just like, you know, Ace would have known about what was going on. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't have told Whitebeard about it. So what happened right there where Whitebeard's like, we're not going to go to Wano. We're not going to help your friend Tama. We're not going to try to free the country from Orochi and Kaido's grasp. It could have been a simple thing of just, it's not possible. It's we don't have enough manpower. Even as me as a Yonko crew, they still kind of outstrip us because they have a Yonko crew that's probably every bit as capable as ours. Plus, they have all those strong samurai under Orochi's thumb. I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out a way, like try to explain this, right? But for whatever reason, Ace had to leave the island, okay? Ace left the island after meeting Yamato, and so Yamato remembers Ace and like, oh man, I'm sure Ace probably talked about Luffy to him. I'm sure, you know, he was talking about, oh, I have a little brother in the East Blue, yeah, and he's gonna be a pirate, and, you know, he's gonna go out to sea eventually, so I have no, doubt, that's it, I have no doubt that my brother Luffy is going to be arriving on this island at some point, and he's going to meet you, so be nice to him, I guess. I guess that was the general idea right there, okay? So yeah, that's probably what happened there, and then Ace left Wano, and then he met up with Whitebeard, and then we know his adventure from there pretty much, and then he eventually dies, R.I.P. Ace, and then Luffy comes to Wano here, and then meets Yamato, as like, okay, I remember you, you're the little brother that Ace probably already talked about to him, so he knows about Luffy and everything like that, and, yeah. Maybe Yamato also asked Ace, like, would you like to help me open up this country or something? And then maybe there was a reason Ace couldn't do that. Yamato right now in the story, because he said this to Luffy in the last chapter, still thinks all the Scabbards are dead. That was something else. That was another big one to bring up. He's like, oh yeah, this is my Bible, you know, Kuzuki Oden's logbook. Now with all the Scabbards dead, I have to be the one personally, only myself, to carry out this mission. That's why I'm glad you showed up, because you can help me. Or you're, maybe not necessarily you're gonna help me, like, you know, Luffy and Yamato together, but maybe because the logbook and Joy Boy, maybe Yamato thinks like, oh, you're like the prophecy child kind of sort of deal. That's the reason you need to be here. Now that you're here and all this stuff's going on, you have to be the one. But Yamato doesn't know the Scabbards are alive, because Yamato, being on Onigashima, would probably know no more information than, you know, Kaido would about the current events in Wano, right? So, if Kaido and Orochi think that all the Scabbards are dead, Yamato probably would as well. So, Luffy, next chapter, there's a 2-week break, but next chapter, Luffy's probably going to explain to Yamato, oh, the Scabbards are not dead. They're all alive. Well, Kanjuro was a traitor, but beyond that, because Luffy doesn't know that Izo arrived yet, so he still thinks that, he doesn't even know Nekomamushi arrived yet, so he still probably thinks it's just the 7 Scabbards that are on the island, plus Shinobu, but he's like, yeah, no, the Scabbards are still alive, yeah, they're still around, okay, so I want to see how Yamato's going to respond to that information, like, wait, what, they're still alive? Given how much of an Oden fan that Yamato is, Yamato's probably going to be like, can I get their autograph? Can I get their autographs on my Bible? He's like, Yamato goes up to freaking Kinemon, like, oh, you're Kinemon, the leader of the 900 Scabbards! Can I get a signature? You know? He's like, okay, here you go. I'm like, awesome. Get all the Scabbards signatures. That'd be great. You know, and Izo's there too, right? Okay, cool. Because Izo is explained about in the logbook, so Yamato would know about Izo as well. So, yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff going on here. I don't know if Oda is gearing up to do a flashback, like, right in the next chapter, or if we're going to hang out a little bit with Yamato and Luffy, see their conversation, or if we're going to cut away from their immediate conversation. This would actually, okay, as far as cliffhangers go, this would probably be a good time to have, like, 1 or 2 chapters of a flashback. Not a very long one, because we just got done with a huge one. Because Kaido's about to do this big announcement in Onigashima. The new Onigashima Initiative! Giant Crab Muffin Project! He's about ready to do that. So, stop the story for a little bit, get a Yamato Ace flashback, see what's going on with Yamato's past and everything like that, and how he grew up, and then cut back to the present, and then we have Kaido announcing the initiative. Now, the way that Kaido did phrase that, and we're not going to go too into it here, because that's not the purpose of this video, and it's already kind of long enough, but the way that Kaido phrased that, like the new Onigashima project, or the Onigashima initiative, that seemed more than just like, like there were some people that were thinking that maybe Kaido was going to announce, like, the true identity of Yamato. Like, Yamato is not actually my son, you know, he's my daughter. People thought, you know, that was going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the announcement, because the way that was phrased, it's like, this is going to be a whole new thing. Like, this is going to be a new project that everybody on Onigashima is going to work towards. The Calamities, the Tobiropo, the Waiters, the Pleasures, the Gifters, the Headliners. Everybody's going to work for one single purpose. And I think that singular purpose is going to be to either attack another Yonko, like Shanks or Blackbeard, given that Big Mom is still allied with them, or to attack Marineford, or to attack Marijois. And so he wanted, like, Big Mom to be there and Yamato to be there to kind of, like, make the situation a little bit easier, to kind of, like, it's alright, guys, I'm Kaido, I'm a duck dragon, I got Lin here, and I got my son Yamato. So we're gonna take on Marine HQ! And all the members are like, what? But, yeah, we can do it! Might be something like that. I think it's gonna be something really, really big of that nature, right? Not something directly involving Yamato. He just wanted Yamato to be present when the announcement was made, but that's looking like it's not gonna happen, so, yeah. Also, the Tobiropo, like, who's who is gathering that whole little group together of, like, sexy cat girls to go look after, to try to find Yamato. So I would like the next interaction Luffy and Yamato to have to be with who's who, because that would reveal a little bit more about Yamato's fighting style, and that would also reveal a little bit more about, who's who. Who's who? Who's who? Who's on first? I am obligated by law to make that joke every time I mention who's who. I'm sorry. Oh, and one more thing as we end it out, though, I wanted to bring up. So, Yamato wants to be exactly like Oden, right? Yeah, okay. Oden didn't use a kanabo. Just throwing it out there. Yamato should be dual-wielding swords right now. What if we still have an Oden sword that has no user right now? Ame no Habakiri. What if... I don't know how Ame no Habakiri would get to Onigashima. Maybe Tenguyama brings it or whatever. But what if Yamato gets Ame no Habakiri and uses it to, like, slice down one of Orochi's heads? Like, this is Oden's sword! Yes! Can I add this to my collection? Gotta talk to Momo first. It's technically his sword. You know, right? Okay, so... yeah, that's the situation there. I wanted to talk a little bit just about Yamato and Ace. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about this whole situation. This will be Tekking101. Thanks for watching, everybody. Signing out. Careful tumble. Bye.